We're still working on our commander. We're looking at graphs and what graphs can do. We know that exam anxiety is active, the active data set, because we can actually see it in blue here. By clicking on graphs, we can actually look at relationships between variables. A very nice graph for exploring relationships is the scatter plot. And the scatter plot allows you or gives you two windows where you can look at the relationship between anxiety and exam, or let's say exam and anxiety. So if we want exam to be on our x variable or the x-axis, we would click this one first here. If we want the anxiety to be on the y variable, we would click it here. Let's say that we click on anxiety to be on the x variable and exam, so the exam score is going to be on the y variable. I'm simply going to do that, and I'm going to click on OK, and let's see what emerges. So what emerges is a whole bunch of dots that represent the relationship of where these scores for every individual are. So the majority of the scores are around the 80, and in terms of anxiety, or in terms of the scores on the test, the people that score the highest had apparently um, some pretty high levels of anxiety. No, not necessarily. Low levels of anxiety. So on this axis, I see that 20 is a low level of anxiety. I look up these scores, the higher scores, and they're not too high. So I know that case 78 and case 83 have scored very high 100s on the exam, and they actually also had very low levels of anxiety. It'd be nice to see how much case 78 and 83 studied. I'm just going to click on View Data and look for case 78, or actually just look at 83. And this person studied 68 hours. That's a whole bunch of time studying for a test. Congratulations, case number 68, for preparing so well. You did well, and not only did you do well, but you also had low anxiety on your exam because you were very well prepared. What R does, it creates a little box plot right here on the side, kind of gives you an idea of where most of the scores are being distributed at, and we can see that most of the scores in terms of anxiety are between the 70 and maybe a high 80, and most of the scores for exam are between a 40 and an 80, with the median being a 60, and the high score, of course, being 100 and the low score being a little bit over a 0. What R did is it created a line of best fit right here, and also created a standard error or confidence interval of the standard error, the estimate of the standard error, where the model that we have represented here based on the means of these scores represents the population. But you would know that from introduction to statistics. So that concludes this video on scatter plots and the use of scatter plots to visualize the relationship between variables.